Matt. Get your shit together.
Live. All right. Get it together.
All right. So you prepared
I would
for
say
the podcast? You mean this podcast? What we're
yes.
talking about right now?
I think so. I think I sort of prepared. I don't know if I fully prepared as much as you do. So I'm just trying to be better every time.
What do you mean, sort of? What? I'm not
So
prepared. I'm never.
you
I'm never fucking prepared.
you do research and have all sorts of like things. I had AI do my
Things.
research, but I didn't cite this. I didn't read the sources. I kind of felt that
Yeah.
was fine because we're just making predictions anyways. So who cares?
Yeah. I mean, come up with some wild, crazy ass shit. You know.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's as crazy as people think it is.
You don't think it's crazy as people think it is. How
We
many
we
predictions do you have?
I have 11, but it's if
11
you
predictions? What the hell, man?
if you peel it all back, it's really nothing's going to change because we don't change. So really it's nothing.
Yeah, maybe. So that's the. Oh, what the fuck? My version. I was because you shared with me what your those predictions were in that chat,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Mhm.
And my chat GPT is
Better.
uh, well, no, it's out of date.
Oh, the app?
Yeah, so I can't
Mm.
access the link that you shared.
Oh, I might have deleted it. When I share it, I let you have it for like 3 or 4 days, and then I delete the conversation.
Okay,
So, so I don't think it's an active conversation anymore.
all right.
So you got to get it while it's hot, man. Get it while
Get
it's
it while
hot.
it's hot. Get it while it's hot. FOMO, right?
Yep. Something went wrong with the stream. It says
So
refresh.
today's January 9th. And for people that listen to the podcast version, Matt and I are live right now. We're always live on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time.
That's Central U.S. time.
Central Time. You know, it's cool. Like last week we had some people typing some shit in the chat,
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
us some comments, asking some questions.
We like seeing people ask questions.
Well, ask easy questions. Don't ask any of the tough ones
You
because
can ask Evan the tough ones.
fuck
He's
no. Don't ask me the tough ones.
You're the grandmaster.
Grandmaster of what?
I don't know. You got the beard and the things. You just need a staff and be a
You know how
grandmaster.
the beard started, right?
COVID, right?
No, it was before
No.
COVID. It was no shave November. No
Oh,
shave? No, yeah, that's what they call it.
yeah.
And I was lazy and I just decided to keep not shaving.
Nice.
And then yeah, one thing led to another. It was like January and Marlis was like, "Are you going to shave?" Like, no, I'm not shaving. But I did shave off. I don't know if you saw April of 2023.
I did see when you took it off. Yep. And you
That
like
was,
freaked out.
dude, I have 3 chins now.
We all have 3 chins. See?
No, not everybody has 3 chins. So we're 9 days into the new year 2025. What New Year's resolutions do you have?
Just continuing to be the better me. Big one is being more active. So before the end of the year, I even started taking a spin class because up here in the Midwest, it's not sunny. It gets dark, man. I need to do something. Walking outside in this cold isn't good anymore. So going to the gym, taking spin on a bike.
Spin.
Yeah, on a bike.
Spin is riding a bike.
Hmm.
It's riding a bike without a motor.
Yes.
What's I don't get
What's
that.
the purpose? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's crazy for you Harley people.
Yeah, if it doesn't smell like gas and
What's the
make
purpose?
loud noises. Yeah. So do you make a Harley noise while you're pedaling your bike?
I haven't, but I'll think about doing that on Sunday when I go. It'd be actually pretty fun.
Because you're
Pretend
like
like
pretty
you're
close to
shifting things.
Milwaukee.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually,
All right.
in 2 weeks, my friend from Louisiana, he's coming up here. He's going to
Hmm.
the Harley place because he's taking a Harley class. He's a mechanic. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet as hell. I would marry a Harley mechanic. I mean, I'm not. I'm not gay, but I'd consider it for a Harley mechanic.
You did discuss that proposition last week.
Oh, really? So I'm still
Yeah.
on this.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You
So give
said
me a
if
prediction,
nothing,
man. Get
prediction 1 or prediction 11. Where do you want to start?
you can start with whatever prediction you want. Let's give something interesting, and then let's dissect it.
Okay. So the first one, ransomware as a service will dominate. The
Dominate.
ransomware as a service model will continue to grow, making attacks more accessible to inexperienced criminals. Expect more targeted attacks on infrastructure and healthcare. This was from IBM.
Oh, IBM. They're
Hmm.
still around.
Apparently, I don't know what they do anymore, but
They used to have a saying that if you nobody got fired for hiring IBM or choosing IBM. I
hmm,
think that's still true.
probably they probably just
Yeah.
fly under the like. Well, what's that for? Oh, it's IBM spend. Whatever. No one
Do you
probably
have any
ask questions.
IBM? Do you have any IBM shit in your environment?
Not that I'm aware of, unless it's super old that no one wants to talk about.
IBM went straight up quantum and AI. JG's here. What's up, JG? Sorry you're late. Had to shovel snow. I did not have to
Oh
shovel snow.
man, feel sorry for you. He must be on the East Coast. Us in the Midwest, we don't have snow.
Well, I'm here in
Or
Mexico. Never
or
going
in
to snow.
Texas, they might have snow in Texas or Florida. Those are things I heard.
You know there are two. No, one might be two. There's a ski resort in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, Mexico City is at that 7,000 feet
Oh shit, that's pretty high.
elevation. Yeah, it's higher than Denver.
They
And
get
there's some
snow.
mountain peaks that are like 5,300 meters, which I guess would be about 17,000 square feet. And there's snow up there. There's snow in Hawaii.
Hmm. You wouldn't think that.
Yeah, we should do a trivia show. Shit, I'm full of trivia tonight.
Yeah, you are. You're crushing it.
All
So
right,
what do you
so
think? You think
ransomware.
ransomware as a service? What do you think about it now? Do you think it's a big thing? Do you think it's going to get better? Do you think it even matters?
Yeah, they're always getting better, man. I think the attackers, especially the money motivated attackers, are running their business better than most businesses run their business. So it's all. I mean, if you just put because we do that a lot, right? In our work, we put ourselves in the mindset of an attacker, try to think like they think, and if you do that, you'll find that right now the biggest return on your investment is ransomware.
It's
Right?
quick. Yeah.
It's quick. It's depending on your target. If you target it right, it's a guaranteed payout. If you hit anything, just about anything in the public sector, uh, hit most things in healthcare. But I mean, shit, you could just stick with public sector. I mean, there's plenty enough targets there. The work effort, it's pretty minimal, honestly.
Spray and pray. Yeah.
You could do that, or I mean, with there are plenty of things that you can do, OSINT wise, to identify some low hanging fruit and kind of work your way in. Still, the easiest way in is single factor authentication on something and phishing, right? And we've been, to your point about, shit hasn't changed. I mean, that's been the same attack vector now
Decades.
since we went chip and pin on credit cards, which would have been, shortly after the Target breach. It's been ransomware every year.
I just so question about like the ransomware as a service, right? I think this is more talking about the
49
model
bucks, 49.99.
for an identity.
No, for your own
Oh,
command
for
and
my
control to run a ransomware as a
oh.
service attack.
So it's crazy because I start, following some shit on LinkedIn, and there's this automated whoever does it tells you when all these ransomwares are happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you never hear like it's hardly ever Lockbit or like the big ones that you would that we know to be the as a service, entities.
No,
There's
they're not as
so
a
many
service.
there's so many other like brand new names and groups coming up that are being funded by or run off of whoever these service providers are.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, how hard is it?
Yeah, if
You
you go
know,
on pay and just say target them.
I mean, you could start your own, your own lockbit organization. You know, fairly. I mean, it would take some effort, but it wouldn't be rocket science. And if you thought ahead a little bit and planned your steps, obviously none of these are direct attacks. They're coming from, proxies bouncing around.
Right.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think next year, you'll see a lot more of. So we saw a lot. We knew that we saw this in like 2022, when it started, kind of the double extortion tactics where it's, you want your ransomware, you want your shit back, pay, and we'll give you the key.
Oh, but
And
here's
then,
your data.
yeah, but yeah. So the double part is now double extortion attacks are only going to work in, financial sector,
Regulated industries.
healthcare. Yeah, it won't work as much in public sector. Public sector is the low hanging fruit, but they're, so I mean, you just think ahead, right? You get one step ahead of them, right? Ransomware, just as it was working great. And then people finally figured out how to air gap their backups. The old school, and that's why, being an old timer like me,
You're like, fuck, tape worked, man. Why did you
it
get rid of
fucking
tape?
totally worked. I mean, of all the things I could pick to fix, right? They always say that thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Tape worked. Yeah, it might have been a little bit slower, but it worked. Certainly for your critical systems. So anyway, yeah, so double extortion tactics were kind of emerged more in 2024. They were around in 2022 as the first kind of, you saw them. Medusa ransomware gang is kind of active. They're hitting educational institutions primarily. So I would expect more of that. And then I would expect a lot more, when you talk about the evolution, more triple extortion attacks, which is, the double is ransom your shit, steal your data. The third is attacking your third parties. That's the third. That's what they're calling, triple extortion. So hitting your customers, your partners.
I've heard about this group called Scattered Spider, I think. There's word out that they're starting to call executives claiming that they have like their kids hostaged and stuff like that. Would you consider that like a third
That's
level?
No, that's not ransomware. That's just extortion.
Okay. But it's part of the chain though to get them to pay. So like,
Well, all these fucking attacks are to get you to pay.
yeah.
Unless you can kind of fit all of the criminal activity primarily, you can fit in one of two buckets. And sometimes the buckets overlap. It's money motivated attacks, but the overlap we talked about, like North Korea, it's money motivated, but it's also nation state. So you've got money motivated nation state. There used to be a lot more. It's not as
logical.
Yeah. Hacktivism, activists, you don't see as much of that anymore. And maybe they've just been drowned out by all the other shit. I mean, get your money while the money's hot, man.
Right. If you want to be a criminal.
Yeah. 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 And thank God, we talked about that last week too. I mean, thank God you and I have, scruples. The whole reason I'm in this fucking industry to begin with is because I hate seeing people get taken advantage of. And so it would violate my very being, to take advantage of somebody.
I put out a post, I don't know, a couple years ago now about it was actually about Security Studio at the time, but like I think, when you're in a field, you got the sheep, you got the wolf, right? Wolf, vendors, salespeople, criminals, whatever.
Yeah.
Sheep are the companies, us the people. But there's a sheepdog that defends
So when you
the
say
sheep.
wolf, are you referring to Arctic wolf?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
It was
No,
actual wolf. Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
But then there's the sheepdog that protects the sheep, and that's what we are. We're sheepdogs.
Shepherds.
Sheepdog, not the
No,
shepherd.
man, I'm a shepherd. I carry one of those sticks.
Oh, whack.
Yeah, you whack
Okay.
shit. You
So
train the shepherd dogs, sheepdogs.
so later in your career you become a shepherd, but early on you're a sheepdog. I
Yeah, I'll
like
go for
that.
that.
I'm a
I'll go for that.
sheepdog. You're a shepherd. I like it.
From the farm in Texas. I like Texas.
All right. So number
All right.
two.
So, and I think another thing, you mentioned other things on the ransomware piece, because I think a lot of times people make predictions, but they don't give you details.
Okay.
Right? Like, well, there's going to be more ransomware. You're like, okay, that was fucking useless. I think other ways you're going to see, you mentioned ransomware as a service. I think you're going to see more AI enhanced ransomware.
Okay.
Meaning that grammar is going to be better. I think you'll use encryption. I think there'll be better OSINT up front. I think the ransomware attacks will be, today they're pretty much, the same attack across the board, but I think you see more personalized attacks because now you have, you can leverage AI.
So we won't call it phishing anymore. It's going to be all whaling, or it's going to transition from phishing to whaling.
Well, it's like,
because we got to have a term.
It's like bass fishing versus like crappie fishing. You know what I mean? Bass fishing, you're like casting, you can, you know where they're at. They're in the weeds over there. So you're hitting them close. I think other things, you'll see the phishing campaigns, which is the front end of most of the phishing, most of the ransomware attacks. The front end is phishing. You'll see phishing starting to leverage deep fake more.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think you'll see more targeted attacks towards those high value individuals, which is the whaling, but not any, I mean, you couple these together and it's some pretty nasty shit you can do. And I think there'll be some cryptocurrency wallet ransomware. I think they're going to see a lot more attacks after wallets.
That's interesting. What if your wallet's offline? Then you're safe.
I don't know. I mean, something that's insecure offline is still insecure. Maybe. I don't know.
True that. Good question. Someone can answer that in the chat, probably.
Yeah. And if you're here, answer some questions or ask some questions or share your opinions. But I think the ransomware one is a no-brainer for 2025. You're going to see increased attacks, better attacks. It makes the defenders, our job, harder, honestly. Which is good. I get paid well. So maybe I can get a raise next year.
I think you're doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and I get paid more than I'm worth right now anyway. So don't tell anybody, wait, shit, this is fucking public, isn't it?
You're worth whatever you want to be worth, man.
Shit. All right.
Okay. So number 2 is AI-driven attacks and defenses will escalate. So we kind of talked about the AI built into ransomware already. But what about AI from a defending standpoint? Do you think that's going to be a thing, or are we just too slow and it's all just fluff? This is from Gartner, by the way. AI will play a role in 30% of cyber incidents.
I don't know. I mean, anytime you mention a number in this industry, you got to, I mean, if you've got some discernment, one of my wife and I were actually talking about this. We're Christian people, even though I swear a lot. I'm just a dirty Christian, I say. About, her and I are both of our top spiritual gift is discernment, which means you just question everything, right? And it's a great gift to have, I think.
It's also curse.
Yeah, can be for sure. But I think anytime you mention some statistics, some number in our industry, it's almost always bullshit when you dig into it, right? I mean, where are you pulling that fucking data from, for number one? And if it's some study that was done, who did the study? most of the studies done in our industry are done by people trying to sell you shit.
Yeah.
There's very little research that's actually done without any bias.
It's all in containers versus like full context usually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be some study that 90% of all phishing attacks end up in death, and it's like done by somebody selling anti-phishing software or something. Right. So the thing is, what AI is going to do what to us?
I don't know. So it's just gonna increase the sophistication, but is it gonna help in response and detection from like a defender or blue team, purple, whatever the hell we call it today?
I want to be honest with you, man. I don't really give a shit. I was trying to think how AI can improve my sex life.
They have robots.
No,
They're pretty expensive.
No. I don't know what the fuck you.
Improve.
I don't know what you think of when you think of sex life, man. I'm not thinking robots. I'm thinking like with my wife.
Oh, you're married. I'm not. It's a little bit different.
But why are you thinking about robots?
It's out there. You gotta look at it, man.
No, the day you start having sex with robots, we're done.
We're done.
We are not friends anymore. I'm not going to be hanging out with some dude who's fucking machines. All right.
You gotta be aware of everything that's out there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So do you think it's gonna help defenders?
If you know how to use it. I mean, it's like all this shit, man. Every single goddamn, excuse me, I shouldn't say that from a Christian, but every single thing we have is just a tool. If you know how to use the tool, you know what the tool is used for, the right tool for the right situation, then yeah, you can use AI to do a whole bunch of cool things to defend yourself. But I can't. The one thing
I currently can't document my data flow or my network flow. Why should I be using AI to try to do some automation, right? Assets. Know what you have. How does it work?
Simplify. I mean,
is AI really simplifying it, or is it making it more complicated? Because we don't even know how it works.
Unless I ask, I suppose I could use AI to help me simplify. You know what I mean? Give me tips, give me tricks, give me things I can do to simplify. And then, and if you could follow that kind of logical direction with AI. You can use AI for learning. I think AI is great for learning and creativity things. I think most defenders are buying shit. They don't know how to use AI correctly, just raw. And they're buying shit because of the marketing of it's AI, like Darktrace. Darktrace can fuck themselves.
They're saying it's AI, but we don't even know what it is. So how do we know if you have it or not? It's a scam.
Well, if you're a logical person, it's always garbage in, garbage out, right? So you're using AI for this tool, and I'm going to trust your tool, but you just put another layer of abstraction between me, AI, and my infrastructure and whatever, right? You just continue to put these layers of abstraction, which the goal is for you to understand, for you to get this situational awareness, to understand your environment so that you can defend it. But if you continue to put layers of abstraction between you and your environment, it's the less you're going to understand it. And the more you're going to be not situationally aware, and the more you're going to get fucked. So if you use AI that way, yeah, man, I mean, no, don't do it. And if you're going to buy a product that says it's going to be AI, use that discernment that I talked about and ask questions like, how does it use AI? Give me details of how this thing works so that I know, because if I'm going to rely on this tool, let's say for, anomaly detection or endpoint protection, I'm going to rely on this tool for something, then, I need to know how it works, because if it's not working, like if you're not asking the right questions of AI, if you're not leveraging AI in the correct ways, I'm I guess trusting a tool that's just shit.
So you don't even know what you're getting. How can you trust what you get? It's
Yeah,
like the blind leading the blind, right?
Well, it's so easy to just leverage. I mean, the attacker's number one tool, if you really want to be honest, isn't ransomware. It isn't AI. It's ignorance. You know,
I buy that. Yep.
that's how they beat our ass all the time, because we're ignorant. We're not paying attention. We're not looking in the right places. We don't even understand ourselves. It's crazy that they understand us better than we understand us. The hell?
How is that even possible, right? We're here.
Yeah.
They're over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll see AI on.
It'll be everywhere, man.
Well, and you'll see AI on the attack side far outpace AI on the defense side. You'll see AI products all over the damn place. You'll have to test in your own environments. You'll have to be discerning in your own situations to know if they're actually going to work. But from an attack perspective, I mean, I talked about the phishing campaigns. If I were an attacker, holy shit, I could do some sweet ass attacks.
Perfect messages, dude. Yeah. Pretext.
I mean, I could send you an email as me to you, Matt. It'd be worded. It'd use my same writing style. I mean, you'd be like, you wouldn't even question it.
Yep.
So I think more sophisticated phishing attacks. I think automated vulnerability exploitation is going to be a big thing with AI in 2025. Is that what year we're in?
Yep. So you said
AI generated malware. I can make AI create malware for me. And people say, well, no, it violates the terms of service.
Yeah, you can get around it.
It's easy.
So do you think this could revive old exploits? So talking about, stuff in TLS or like old stuff that like no one really goes after because they're always, using the new exploits, the new 0 days, but the old ones that you're not patching that are just sitting out there.
It's crazy. Yeah, man. Our industry gets so like bent around the axle on 0 day shit on the newest exploits. I'm just sending you a fucking email. I mean, yeah, great. I could attack your firewall and bypass some shit, but why would I waste my time? When you talk about return on investment, the greatest return on my investment is just to shoot some emails at you. I don't get a good return on my investment by exploiting, your Cisco firewall. On the other side, if I was a state, a nation state, but this goes back to that situational awareness, right? You should understand, my company does this. This is who we interact with. This is the value we have. And, this is all this shit. Because then you'll be able to profile your most likely type of attacker, I think, a lot better. And know, okay, I'm probably not a big target for a nation state. I'm probably a big target, though, for the money motivated piece, because everybody is. And so thinking in that way, well, if it's a money motivated attacker, that's going to be the greatest return on their investment. They're not going to be interested in the latest and greatest exploit. They're just going to fish us.
Right. Too much work.
It is too much work. I mean, when you think of, yeah, and we spend time, I've spent enough time in the dark shit, doing shit to know that that's what they're doing. It's like, it's crazy. They got to be laughing at us sometimes. And actually, I know that too. They're laughing at us sometimes because we're spending all this time on the latest and greatest exploits and shit like that. And they're like,
this still works.
Yeah, this is awesome. I don't care. They still have that, that RDP server sitting out there that we're just tagging. Yeah. But I think you'll see deep fake voice and video scams a lot more with AI on the attack side, data poisoning attacks, I think. So attacking your AI, AI is 100% dependent on its data, right? If you can feed a whole bunch of shitty data into,
look at that Microsoft chatbot that went racist, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could get your AI. And that's the thing. The more you depend on AI, the less you depend on your own logic. I'm starting to see more and more people just doing what they're doing because AI told them to do it. And so if you get into that mental state with your AI or your LLMs or whatever, and the data is poisoned.
You're going
That's
to
a
inherently trust
nasty.
it. Yep.
That's a nasty spot. So on the defense side, I think you'll have better automated threat detection for sure. Slower behavioral analytics, maybe predictive threat intelligence. Maybe we'd still suck at sharing data as an industry because I think we're afraid. Why are you yawning, Matt?
I'm always tired. Don't worry about me over here.
Do you need a shot of methamphetamine?
No, I'm good.
Okay, let me know.
Good.
I'm in Mexico. We have that here.
Slap myself. Wake
Yeah.
up. Wake up,
Yeah.
Maria.
Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of shit with AI, and I think it's not just AI, right? I think anybody who's going to be listening to a prediction about more AI powered cyber attacks, look for what, right? And I just mentioned sophisticated phishing campaigns, more automated vulnerability exploitation, AI generated malware, deep fake stuff, and data poisoning attacks. That's what I would expect more of in 2025.
All right. So number 3. This one
Look at my eyes, man. Look at me. I'm all crunchy.
Number 3 I came up with yesterday, kind of last minute,
All
because, or actually today, because I saw something on the news this morning, and I shared it with you a little earlier.
Did you say
today.
news or nudes?
News.
Okay, because
it's
you
possible.
with that AI robot porn thing. I'm not sure if you're doing the nudes too.
So IoT security will take center stage. So if no one listening is aware, this year White House Cyber Trust Mark is this new thing that's going to be coming out. It's a label that you can put on IoT devices that essentially says you're trusted. And there's going to be like 6 entities, I think, that are allowed to give out this.
You said entities.
Entities, yeah, orgs, entities, whatever we want to call
them. Titties. No, I just heard titties.
Titties. 6 people that are gonna 6 titties that are gonna be able to certify these devices for security. So I was thinking about this, and I'm like, your sticker is probably better to throw on these things than anything that says cyber trust.
Yeah, where are those stickers? Hold on.
Do you still have some?
Yeah, these stickers? Wait.
Yes, the warning stickers. Yes. That is probably a better thing to put on a device than to put on trust us, we made a secure IoT device. Are you serious?
Trust us, we made a secure IoT device. Well, and that's what it'll end up being. I think it'll end up being a sales tactic, right? Because at the end, what's missing I think across the entire industry is just accountability. At the end of the day, your security is not my responsibility. Matt's security, I love you. I'll give you advice. I'll be here to help you, but your security is on you. My security is on me. Company X's security is on Company X. And if you get your shit fucked up, I wish we would. Well, and the way you would, I think increase accountability is if people actually suffer the consequences for their shitty choices. And so, okay, you're going to certify an IoT device. If I was a responsible consumer to begin with, I would have been securing my IoT devices anyway.
Yep.
And so what are you going to do for certifying IoT? Are you going to make it secure by default? Are you going to make it default deny from the get-go? And so I have to open and enable every single option that I want?
That's too much work for normies.
That's what I'm saying. I think, which then you just missed the most important thing, right? I think, are you going to force people to change their default password? That's probably going to be something. You're probably going to force an update schedule of some sort, so because there's a lot of IoT devices that don't have any means to manage or update the firmware. But beyond that, I mean, I'd be interested to see what else they're going to do.
So there's a whole paper out here. It was published on the 7th.
Was it fucking MIT?
It's in the whitehouse.gov briefing room.
Why would I ever trust the White House to secure my shit?
I don't know, man. I'm just telling
The federal
you what.
government can't control their shit.
So can I put links in this chat?
You can put links wherever you want, man. This
So
is our show, Matt.
This is officially from the FCC.
Make sure you give them links to that. Hey, make sure you give them links to that AI website that we created earlier.
Oh yeah, that good one.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll have to log in.
Yes. And give me your social.
No, dude. You just told too much. Now we have to change our strategy.
All right. So IoT, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a buzz, but I think it's gonna do nothing to change.
It's been a buzz from the get-go, man. I mean, IoT from the very beginning. You know, it's like when they first came out, when they first started. You know, that's the thing that sucks with being an old timer. Like when they came out with cloud at first. Cloud wasn't anything new. And so when they started using cloud, we're like, what the fuck is this? It's just hosted
my server's over here instead of
it's just hosted shit. We've been hosting shit forever, you know, and we've been distributing, you know, application architecture, and I don't understand. But in IoT was kind of the same thing. When IoT first came out, I'm like, what the hell is IoT? Internet of Things. Like, what is that? Oh, like connecting refrigerators and things to the network.
Why do we need that?
Well, and why give it another damn buzzword name? Because if you want to get people's attention, you know, like the normal people, stop using acronyms.
Just call it a fucking computer, right?
Call it gonna fucking burn down your house system, you know? Then they'll be like, whoa, wait, do I really need this? Because that's what you should have asked.
Okay, so that's how you feel about IoT. So on this next one, I'm sure.
No, I just feel that way about, you know me, man. I feel that way about all technology that people don't use responsibly. I think in 2025, you're going to have increased regulation.
Which
you talked about this. I think you're going to see probably some regulatory bodies that it's probably going to be industry specific.
Why do we need to be industry specific?
Because that's where it's going to go. You know, it's going to be healthcare or maybe some public sector shit, maybe energy. You know, it's going to be dependent upon, we're so reactive. It's going to be something dependent upon something that happened.
Another pipeline, and then there'll be
NERC or FERC or something. Yeah. I think you'll have that. The certification you talked about is, I mean, that's like in process right now. I think you're going to see some a lot more IoT botnets. I think we can start running.
Wasn't there that really big one, Mirai? That was like the real big early one. You haven't heard much since then, huh?
Was that running on IoT or was it just targeting IoT?
Well, I felt like my understanding was it targeted it to run on it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more because IoT. Because like what we do, we keep adding more lines of code, more functions to our IoT devices. And the more you do that, the more, you know, an attacker can leverage those devices, you know. So I think you'll start seeing more IoT used as attack endpoints. Yeah, IoT's always been just like the wild, wild west.
So the next one, zero trust models will become a norm. Never trust, always verify is the future. Zero trust adoption is expected to reach 80% by the end of 2025 to combat insider threats and complex supply chains from Forrester. God love those Forrester guys.
You know why? Well, fucking Forrester claims that they invented
zero
trust. Well, they invented the term zero trust, but holy shit, this has been security principle basic 101 since like forever.
Beginning, yeah.
I mean, yeah, truly from the beginning, man, because you think like on the physical side, it was always crazy that you broke up physical side and logical side of, you know, security stuff when they were connected. It's anyway. A lot of the same principles. So think zero trust, like in battles that were fought back in, you know, ancient times. You know, zero trust isn't anything new. Yeah, that they fucked that up. But so yeah, it's no surprise that Forrester mentions that shit. When you say 80% adoption, does that mean 80% of organizations will have it implemented in their environments?
It just says adoption. So, I actually went and sought out a zero trust assessment at the beginning of last year. And it was a very interesting experience because you go in thinking, like, all right, this is what zero trust means. But just like everything else, at the end of the day, you as an organization need to just say, what does zero trust mean to me, to my org? There is no zero trust definition.
Well, I mean, it's
Because you
crazy.
can't close everything. Your business ain't gonna work.
Well, that wouldn't be zero trust anyway, but I mean, I suppose literally it would, but you look at the implementations and what they're pushing for zero trust architecture. I mean, look at NIST documentation. It's like, what the fuck is this? We overcomplicate everything in this industry. It's not, if you just look at zero trust as default deny for everything, default deny for your network traffic, default deny, ingress, egress. I mean, if you want to, so this is why an 80% adoption on zero trust in 2025 is complete and utter bullshit, because let's just start with egress traffic on your firewall. You're trying to tell me 80% of organizations are going to have egress traffic on their firewall now locked down to what's only permitted?
So what would you say to the people that would say, my firewall doesn't matter because there is no perimeter, the identity is the new perimeter?
Fuck you. That's what I would say. Instead of one perimeter, you have multiple perimeters now.
Okay.
Because you made things more complicated.
Right.
Yep. Now you can bring
still
it back.
have a firewall somewhere, right? It's still going to be important.
I hope so. I don't know. I've always been a firewall guy, from the, early 90s. I can do amazing things with the firewall. I love firewalls. Shit. Firewalls are like awesome. I mean, because
tells you everything you need to know, man.
Well, there are no attacks if there's no network. If you can't get to me, there's no attack. Right? So how am I going to control network traffic? How am I going to control you getting to me and me getting to you? How am I going to control all that stuff? It's either going to be a zoned kind of firewall, right? Where you've got, your traditional office network, internet, that is a zoned kind of network, or you're going to have to go to micro segmentation. Right, but either way, you still have to have a firewall. I mean, what is permitted to communicate to what? If you want to do zero trust, that's what it is. I mean, that's what one part of it is. So you can't do zero trust. Number one, you can't do zero trust without knowing what you got.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do zero trust without an asset inventory. You can't do zero trust without asset management.
So that chops us down to like 5%.
Exactly. So this 80% number, what the fuck does adoption mean? And it's not that I'm anti zero trust. What I'm anti is the marketing bullshit around zero trust. It's bullshit. Mm-hmm. If you had architected your network, architected your security program correctly from the beginning, you would have already had zero trust implemented. Now, most of us, adopted a network, right? We were hired and it's like, oh God, what are we going to do with this? So then you have to ask yourself, because I've been hired not too many times, and people don't want to hear what you have to say sometimes because it's the truth. Like, we want to implement zero trust. And it's like, honestly, the best way for you to implement zero trust is for you to start over.
It would be easiest, yeah.
For you to build a parallel environment, a parallel network, and then migrate over to that. Mm-hmm. Which is a great exercise, because on every single application that you're moving over, every single server, you're asking yourself, do we really need this thing? And you're also researching what it does, how it works. I mean, so it's a great way to really get to know yourself.
Get intimate with your network. That should be a thing.
So I do think that 2025, you're going to hear zero trust all over the damn place. And I think for people that understand what zero trust is, understand how to do security, it's going to drive us fucking crazy. People like me are going to be like, what the shit?
Perfect.
Because
I need more
because
crazy.
complexity is the worst enemy, right?
Yes.
And so you're just going to add more complexity to your damn environment, which is going to make it harder, which means, I guess if I was in this game for money, it's more incident response work.
That's
I
stressful
don't want,
too, though.
I know. Well, now that I'm, what would you call me? The
You're a
shepherd.
shepherd.
Now that
yeah.
I'm the shepherd, I'm not on call anymore, but
I still call you though. That was cool. I appreciate
yeah,
that call. Um,
yeah,
so the next one, quantum computing will drive crypto evolution.
that one I agree with 100%.
This
Yeah.
one's
Now's
from
the time to start.
MIT. Industries
Yeah.
like
Now's the
finance will
time.
lead the charge to future-proof their systems.
Well, and why wait for finance to lead your charge? I mean, if you're a security guy listening to this podcast, start doing some research on what some of the quantum resistant, encryption algorithms are. I think it's been since like 2016 or something. NIST has been, running the competition, and it's about ready to be finalized. So yeah, pay attention. Because quantum, I mean, truly quantum in like true quantum in like the true sense, because people read a lot of the headlines, but they don't read the actual articles.
Like what really is quantum?
Well, and when are we actually going to see it in widespread use? We're still a few years away from it, so don't freak out about it. But now's the time to plan.
Like widespread usage, right? There's plenty of
Well,
time.
even attacker usage. I mean, even the shit that Google's doing, that's not commercial. That's in a lab.
It's
they
not
can't
getting
replicate.
Out. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right.
But yeah, quantum, do your encryption shit.
So this one, everyone's gonna love this one. Cyber spending will surge. Global cybersecurity spending is expected to exceed 200 billion in 2025 as we invest in advanced tools, cloud security, and AI solutions. Balancing ROI will remain a challenge.
ROI.
Yeah.
Who wrote that one?
This name I can't pronounce. Statista?
Oh, Statista.
Statista. Yeah. Okay.
So they said ROI is going to be a challenge. Do you know anybody who's demonstrated an ROI on their information security budget?
I have. I do.
Tell me how you justified or did an ROI on your budget.
Leveraging the S2 platform, we do an assessment and we calculate a score. And using that assessment, we focus on doing the right things. By doing the right things, when cyber insurance comes along, we're able to demonstrate knowledge of our environment and that we understand what we're doing and we're proceeding forward in the proper manner to where we reduced our insurance premium by like 30%.
Okay. So you reduced your insurance premium by 30%, and that's one.
That's just one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because I think most information security people don't really speak the language of business. And so when you talk about ROI, what's an ROI, right? It's a return on investment. So if I spend X number of dollars, what do I get in return? And the get in return, if you're speaking the language of business, is money. Am I getting more? And it's really two areas, right? Am I getting more sales, revenue, top line, or bottom line, profit? Mm-hmm. So we talk about return on investment. So if I'm going to spend $1 million on information security today, what do I get? Because this is, when you think about the business, this is what the business thinks.
Yep.
Okay, so Evan, you're asking me to spend $1 million on information security this year. This is the budget that you want me to approve. How much money is this going to make me? And I think most security people will be like, they don't know, or they'll say, well, that's not the right question. It's return on security investment, which how much will I save you? And and you do the annualized
Tell
loss
me how to run
expectancy.
my business again, and I'll slap the stupid out of your mouth.
Yeah. But if you let's say you inherited a shitty security program, right? Which many of us have, so you look for opportunities from a security perspective. If I know that complexity is the worst enemy of security, then simplicity would be a good friend of mine, I would think.
Yep.
And I also know that if I want to be effective in defense, I have to understand myself. I have to understand the situation, right? So if you want to talk not return on security investment, just return on investment. Let's say, we did an asset inventory. We need one anyway, right? And in that asset inventory, when you do an asset inventory, you're talking hardware, software, and data, right? Just go hardware, software for now. And let's say we found X, 20, 50, 100 applications in this environment that we're not using, that we're paying for, but we're not using. Mm-hmm. Or there's duplicate functionality in this application. So let's say, me doing my security stuff, I find that we can get rid of 50 applications and save us $250,000 this year. How much did that cost? It's those kinds of things that I think would really help us as security people if we want to be listened to more. The language of business, and it was Warren Buffett who said it, the language of business is accounting. It's not fucking security,
P&L.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. So the question, what was the prediction? The prediction was that you'll have more budget. People will spend more money.
But we're still going to have a hard time on ROI. So how does
you know
that
why?
make
It's
sense?
because you're fucking misspending the money too, by the way. Would you rather, let me ask you this question, Matt. Would you rather misspend an information security dollar or not spend an information security dollar?
I'd rather not spend it, because
that's the right answer.
You don't have to defend it the next time. Like every time you're going, it's doing something.
Yeah, I totally agree. And at least you're not fooling yourself either, right? You don't have the false sense of security thinking, well, we got that covered, when you didn't know what you bought anyway. You didn't know how it worked. You're not using it right. So, yeah, man, in terms of the budget, because that's how a lot of people measure how much they're doing with security. You ask people like, tell me about your security program, and tell me how great it is. And they'll say, well, we spent $2 million last year on information.
So,
yeah, I don't give a shit how much you spent. What did it do?
So
do you have an asset inventory? No. Well, then why the fuck did you spend $2 million?
Help me understand this. If we can't justify ROI, how are we getting more budget? So I guess
or just an industry?
The industry. So I guess the better question is this increased spend really around businesses increasing their budget, or is this venture capital money being poured into startups that are gonna fucking do shit or whatever?
I think it's three things, man. I think it's emotion based. We talked about this, I think too. It's the emotion based purchase. It's the FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's the fear, uncertainty, doubt. It's the emotion thing that drives a hell of a lot of sales in our industry. I think also our industry is really, really, really fucking good at marketing bullshit. Yeah. So people buy into the, if you don't have the discernment, if you haven't taken the time, you buy into the hype. Yeah, I need that shit too. I think
I want to sit at the table and talk about how I don't know how to use it.
Yeah. And I think the third is, I hate to say it because I'm always feel like I'm ripping on our industry, but we need more good practitioners. People that can think like the business, right? I've been a CISO for a number of companies over the years, and I always felt like I needed to be prepared to demonstrate how I provide value to this business beyond just loss prevention. Loss prevention's that's the easy out, right? The loss prevention. Well, I'm going to, stop the attackers and shit, but how about, will I make us more money? And actually I learned this. I was in a board meeting and I was giving, this is 15 years ago, maybe. I was in a board meeting presenting the results of a company's information security risk assessment. And I was their VCISO. And the CEO stopped me kind of mid-sentence somewhere. He said, Evan, will any of this make us more money? And I'd never been asked that before as a security person. So I was like, shit. I don't know. Let me come back to an, I was just completely caught off guard. But it was such a great experience because when you feel really uncomfortable, wisdom comes from that experience with pain thing. Mm-hmm. And that was really painful because I felt stupid, You
felt like you weren't prepared and all of that.
Right. So now I've always been prepared to answer that question. So, Evan, will information security make us more money? Where I start then, just to demonstrate that we're on the same page, top end or bottom, because I want to know, because I can position the security program to make us more money on the revenue side, or I can position the security program to make us more money on the profit side. Which are you most concerned with? And if it's on the top line side, well, then try to figure out ways where you can streamline, make more efficient, simplify the things that make us money. Because in every process that I can simplify, that's a friend, right? Instead of a 20-step process, from a security perspective, a 2-step process is a hell of a lot easier for me to secure. It also gives me a great opportunity to get out and understand and explore the business to figure out how we actually do make money. So if it's topside, you've got, the most common ones would be market differentiation, where, depending on the market we operate in, customers can trust us more. We'll sign up customers more. Customer onboarding, because if you're in the finance industry, third-party information security risk management's a big thing. When we get those questionnaires, we got that shit. We've streamlined that process. We can onboard customers faster than anybody else in our industry with good quality information. Now, if it's bottom line, let's get rid of all this bullshit. We probably have 20 security tools running in this environment that nobody uses, nobody leverages, that we can consolidate, so that's the way to approach. And then I justify my budget. My budget is justified, and the best way to justify a budget too, it's crazy. It's risk. This game is risk management, right?
Yep.
And so who makes the risk decisions? Me or the business?
Ideally, you want the business to make the decisions.
Right. And the business might delegate that risk decision making to me. Right. So,
right.
Yeah. So we make these risk decisions. These risks are unacceptable. For us to mitigate these risks, it's going to cost X. But in order for you to do that, you're going to need to have some level, some quantification, right? And that's why we use, the S2 score.
Right.
Right. Your score is a 479 today.
Awesome, by the way.
Thanks, brother. Well, and I learned that the hard way too, man. I got my ass kicked at MGI Pharma, which is my last real job. The CFO was always on my ass. He was a peer of mine too. And I was like, dude, I could take you out back and beat your ass, but lose my job. But that's the cool thing. I think we spend so much time in our industry fighting business when we can really learn a whole hell of a lot. So if you wanted to justify your budget, it's a hell of a lot simpler than, it's not easy, it's hard, but it's simpler than we make it.
It's also easier if it's smaller and you have less tools. You're spending less money, easier to defend. No, kind of logical there.
And look for those wins. Like you got your win at that, the 30%. You now are going to get invited to the party People want to talk to you. You're saving us money. You're making us more money. That's a great place to be, man.
Yes, sir. All help from the shepherd.
There's a shepherd.
All right, so number 7. This one always irks me. Talent shortages will persist. Cybersecurity skills gap shows no signs of closing, with an estimated 3.5 million unfilled positions. Automation and diverse hiring pipelines will be critical to meeting growing demands. Cybersecurity ventures. Okay, so is there really 3.5 million unfulfilled jobs? Or are a lot of them just BS? Is my first question.
I don't know. Most of the shit that comes from cybersecurity ventures, I think, is bullshit.
My second question is, why are managers not training their people? Why are we saying, oh, you need to come in and you hit the ground running? Bullshit. You got to train people. The first thing you do in the Marine Corps or any military, I always go back to this, is you get trained.
Mm-hmm.
Months, weeks training. Then you contribute. Why does it not work that way in business?
I don't know, man. I think there's such a disconnect between hiring and the talent pool. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that are broken in the hiring. So the 3.5 million, I have no idea where that number comes from. I know that. And you've also got like open positions. You've got a lot of companies that don't know that they need.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah.
And then if they do know that they need, they don't know what they need.
Right.
And so, you have a whole bunch of companies. Like, take this for instance. I was talking a group of MSPs, and I'm like, which of your customers today doesn't need information security leadership? And they're like, well, all of them do. I'm like, where are they getting it? Who's doing it?
Right. Who's your contact, and why aren't you helping them?
Right. And the motivation for you should not be how much money can I make off this company. It should be how much value can I provide to this company.
Yeah, right. Don't try and sell me another module or another service. Help me get better first.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see. So one of my predictions for 2025 that isn't on your list is, I think, a real surge in VCSOs, virtual chief information security officers, because there's a huge fucking need for it. Now, who's going to fill it? I don't know. I mean, we're doing our best to try to help fill it, but it's a lot of demand, and there's a lot, and the supply is short. So I think you've got this.
Maybe I need a side.
You've got yeah, you do. We've got organizations that don't know they need help, but actually, they do. And there's lots of reasons why they don't approach the market. They don't approach the market maybe because it's intimidating. They have misconceptions. It's going to be too expensive. There's lots of reasons. And then you've got the people who recognize they do have a need. They have no idea what the fuck they're looking for. And so they copy a job description from, Indeed or something, and, looking for a unicorn and willing to pay, a peddler. That's not what the market's doing. And then you've got on the supply side, you've got a lot of people thinking that the way into this industry is to go get yourself a degree. And I've talked to so many post-secondary instructors, really good people. And, as we're talking, I'm like, what's your number one challenge? And they're like, well, it's really hard for us to find internships. And I'm like, okay, well, how difficult is it? I mean, are you finding that your students are getting jobs? Well, they're struggling with that too. I go, do you think that might be, a result of the product that you're producing? They're like, what do you mean? I go, well, I mean, it's just business shit, right? You've got buyers, and you got products, right? And so from a business perspective, is this a product that I can use? Is this a product that I can use, in my business? If the answer is no, you're not going to hire it. I know from our own experience, when we hire, not all of them, but when we hire people from, with degrees, it's usually harder for everybody because they have unrealistic expectations. There's a lot of things to unlearn from them. They don't have any practical experience, so they can't hit the street running. Whereas if you were to hire somebody just out of high school or, just off the street who has the intangibles, you can teach them the security stuff. They'll be happy at the lower pay rate while they're learning, and then, bump their pay as they continue to provide more value to the business. But I know there's thousands and thousands of people that are struggling to get in this industry. Where do I get my break? How do I get my break? What classes should I take? Should I be so many people want to be fucking hackers. We don't need any more hackers. We got plenty of hackers.
We got plenty of broken shit.
What we need is information security leadership, to be honest. We need people to slide into consulting businesses to make good information security risk decisions and then implementing those risk decisions. That's probably the biggest need right now. But yeah, the 3.5 million, I have no clue. We've been saying that since like 2010.
Forever.
Yeah, for the last 15, 20 years.
Ever since I've been around, it's been a thing. And, I didn't get a security job right away. I started as a tier 2, hardware support, build computer image, answer email, bullshit like that. I got lucky because it didn't take long for the organization I was at to have a change and a position opened.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked for me. I don't know what works for everybody else, but
well, the sad thing is, I think it sucks that you have to leave it to chance. Give me a path. I mean, I got in this industry, forever ago, but I can empathize with the people who are trying to get in this industry. It really frustrates me because there's lots of places where these people can fit that we're just not fitting them. I can't hire them all. I mean, we're only the size business that we are. So one of the things, that was the whole purpose actually behind starting the CISSP mentor program back in 2010 when
address the gap.
We were told we don't have enough people. We don't have enough people. So, let's offer free training. And then, and it grew. There's been over 100,000 students in that program so far. But this year, it's dawned on me like, okay, they're still not fucking getting jobs though. Because you don't, and you get a lot of people too, a lot of naysayers. Well, you need 5 years experience to get your CISSP. Well, you can do the associate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need any experience to get the associate, right? While you build that experience. But what it does then is it demonstrates to an employer that at least you at some point acquired enough knowledge to pass that damn exam, right? But we'll be switching the CISSP mentor program this year and trying to focus more on the mentoring piece. That's the piece that's missing. We need more mentoring these people into this industry. And I don't know how many open positions there are, but if we can all agree that every single fucking company on the planet needs information security leadership,
there's room for everybody.
Yeah. If they're not getting it, well, then we can do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next one, supply chain.
And cybersecurity ventures is full of shit, by the way. Just they always are.
Okay, I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
This is from your good buddies over at CISA. CISA. What's the CISA? What's the proper way for that? CISA.
I don't know if there's a proper way, man.
Supply chain security.
We'll have a new regime. We'll have a new regime in there in 11 days. I know some candidates who are up. So Jen Easterly will be resigning, the transition in a couple of weeks. And I know a couple people.
Shortlist?
Fuck no, they know better than that. No way in hell I'm working for the federal government. I'll do shit for the federal government, but you're not going to own me. But there's one person that I'm really excited for, and I hope he gets it because I could really work with that guy, and I think we could really do some cool shit together.
Alright.
We've been texting.
Ooh, texty text.
Yeah.
Are you
You know.
texting on your glasses or on your phone? Oh, by the
Well,
way,
it's kind of like
supposed to-
sexting. I mean, is that a thing? Sexting? I mean, it's a little. It's not. Yeah. I mean, if the CISA, if the administration finds out about what we've been talking about, he's probably not going to get the gig. But whatever.
So you're supposed to be flying your drone. By the way, you were supposed to do that last week. You promised somebody.
Oh shit! You should have.
I should have texted you ahead of time, but I was at a thing.
You know me and my time management, man. Yeah, you gotta prep me.
Okay.
All right. So next week I should fly. Okay. So listeners, if you want to tune in live, you get a bonus. I'll fly my drone. I'll launch it right off the second floor here, and we'll fly it over to the OXXO gas station. They like when I do that. When I fly it.
It goes that far?
Oh yeah, man. It goes.
I suppose it's
I think
straight.
the longest I've had it is probably 1.5 kilometers.
It's
but
straight
it goes
line
a little
of
farther.
sight, right? Because when I fly, I'm up in a wooded area, so you do get some interference. You're like straight wide open. You can probably go pretty far.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've flown it quite. I need to get some whale coverage too.
That would be dope.
The whales are out there all
Go
the time.
down and get close. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
All right.
Supply chain security will take priority. High profile incidents like SolarWinds have highlighted vulnerabilities. Expect wider adoption of this. Are you familiar with this? SBOM. Stricter vendor assessments. What is an SBOM? Do you know what it is? Is it useful? Do we need more of them?
No. SBOM's just actually, yes, we do need more SBOMs. It's a software bill of materials. So it's being open and transparent about all the libraries and everything that goes into the software that you're using. That's critical. But that's only one type of third party, right? I mean, that'd be somebody who's developing software for you. It's nothing about your other vendors, your MSP, your IT service
they're
providers.
Not going to tell you. Right.
Well, and they have no SBOM. There's no software bill of materials for that shit.
They stole
for providing services.
Anyway.
Yeah. So what needs to prevail here is just common sense, man. I mean, third-party information security risk management, like everything, we complicate shit. It's not that complicated. It's essentially a 5-step process, right? Number one, you have to inventory your vendors, your third parties. Who are you actually doing business with? And people struggle, with that part. Well, go talk to accounting. You're paying them, I assume. So inventory is step number one. Step number two is classify, right? Classify based on potential impact, right? So high, medium, low. It's, make it as simple as possible. Make the mediums and highs go through the risk assessment. The lows, you can just cycle to next year. Right. So you'll start kind of culling, your third parties. The ones that make the high ones are the ones that you really want to focus on, right? Those are the ones that could that could fuck your business up the most. So send them risk assessments, set some sort of threshold, some sort of objective criteria that they need to meet. Right. So you're not picking one out over the other. And then, yeah.
I like this idea of evaluating your vendors exactly how you evaluate yourself.
That'd be a great idea.
Is there any type of tool out there that does it?
Dude, are you leading again? Yeah, Security Studio does that.
I try to help out where I can, man.
We're gonna have you or them or somebody as a sponsor.
I asked about that a couple times already.
I know, but we're rebooting that thing. Okay. So, but yeah, it only makes sense, right? Yeah. I mean, practice what you preach, because then it also helps you when there's lots of reasons. Yeah, and plus, like if your third party, your vendor doesn't meet your criteria, when you challenge, because it can get pretty intimidating, right? Especially like when you're talking to like Wells Fargo or, you know, some big company. And you're like, well, we need you to do this thing. And they're like, why? I mean, if you're eating that same, you know, food, that same dog food, you have a why. You know what I mean? You know, it feels less intimidating. It also, you know, it feels more empowering because there's a lot of people that don't do third-party information security risk management because they know that they suck. But it's okay if you suck. The fact of the matter is you're the damn customer. You can demand whatever the hell you want, except for if it's from Microsoft. You know, sign the damn EULA and migrate.
Your way.
Yeah. But in terms of the increased, we've said that for years too. You know, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I really do. Most of your not most, well, probably most of your attacks are coming directly or indirectly through third parties.
I tell you what, I do have a win on that too. You know, having a couple conversations with some of our business partners, and you know, slowly start to try and roll this third-party assessment thing along. Right, you can't just drop it in. You gotta move it slowly. And I got a business partner came and told me that they got contacted from one of our vendors that they had a cyber incident.
Nice.
So we were able to take proactive steps, you know, verify what they have access to, if anything, block email for a little bit, block the domain, you know, kind of shut down any sort of potential impact until they told us that they were all clear.
That's fun. That's cool, man.
It's awesome when people come to you with that kind of stuff, like, because if you're not like, if I'm not, you know, assessing 10 vendors or 100 vendors, it like doesn't feel like you're making progress until something like that happens.
That's cool. Very cool.
So
yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, tout that shit without posturing. You know, tout that shit without being an egotist. You know what I mean? Because it's those success stories that draw the business people in. You know what I mean? When you go too far and you go to the ego side, then you become intimidating. And then nobody wants to hang out with you. But when you can just show and demonstrate these cool things we do, it's not all negative shit all the time, right? We can do cool shit. I mean, I come off as very critical a lot, but it's primarily to the shit in our industry. But there's a lot of things to celebrate. You know, I mean, the shit you're doing, you know, we've been working together informally as friends, you know what I mean? And we've just, to see the success that you've had, you know, where at your job is amazing, right? And so finding those opportunities to then leverage that to continue the progress, right? There's still a hell of a lot of work to do, but, you know, baby steps sometimes. You know, the shit that that FR Secure is doing, you know, obviously I'm biased, but holy shit, they're fucking rock stars, man. I mean, every time I talk to them, they amaze me, you know, and I'm not easily amazed. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, you guys. And I think the thing that I learned from that, and I was talking to a guy who runs another business about empowerment, how important it is to empower the people that work for you as opposed to, you know, because I was telling him, well, number one, I hate meetings. And so it kind of plays off each other. Like I love empowering because I don't have to go to the damn meetings. And then he was like, well, have they ever made a decision that you regretted? I'm like, no. He's like, never? I'm like, never. They made wrong decisions for sure. But a decision that I regretted? No, because every decision that they made was a learning experience. And they gained wisdom that they didn't have before. You know what I mean? The fact that that's part of empowerment, right? When you make the wrong decision, I got you. You know, we have a saying that like failure is not optional; it's mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not failing once in a while, you're probably not growing. You're probably not pushing the envelope enough.
Yeah. Uncomfortable is the place you want to be.
Yeah, comfort's an idol, man. I mean, I don't hate comfort. I actually do like comfort, but I feel really guilty when I get comfortable. Do you feel that way?
I feel uneasy, nervous. Yeah, I feel like it's not
Anxiety.
natural. Yeah. And then I
That's
just sit
actually,
with it. I sit with it, and I get into self beat up versus actually doing something else or embracing it. So I kind of have a negative thing I get to continue to work on there.
yeah, I like that.
Yep.
The I think that's one of the things that makes that, you know, we talk about, you know, hiring for the intangibles, and that's one of the intangibles I think that makes you a very good security leader and will make you a great security leader. It's because you have that intangible of just, I got to provide value. I need to do the right thing. And I think you would also feel the weight of your shitty choices. You know, I use that example all the time of, not all the time, but often, of when I made, you know, the shitty security decision at MGI Pharma, that pharmaceutical company, my last real job.
Is that when you bought the thing?
Yeah, bought the thing, wasted the money, $250,000, and I always felt like I stole $250,000 from an amazing mission that I was 100% bought in on. You know, good security leaders can feel that weight. You know, I don't feel guilty, but I feel convicted. Like I will never make that same mistake again. I will make sure that every information security dollar we spend is a good spend. Yeah. You want to play some information? You want to play some cybersecurity trivia real quick?
No, I want to get this next one first.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a spin on this one, and I'm curious what you think about it. The next one is proactive threat hunting will become essential. Organizations, proactive threat hunting.
Got it.
Organizations are shifting from reactive defense to proactive strategies like red teaming and threat hunting and continuous pen testing. These approaches can reduce impact of breaches by 60%. So my first problem with this is the word threat hunting.
Threat
Um,
hunting.
I think if you're looking for threats, you're still already reactive. You want to be looking for risks. And I think if you're looking for risks, you're looking for anomalies.
Anomalies.
Anomalies like
Anomalies.
why is this working this way? Why is that doing that? Why is this? You're not looking for an IOC. You're not looking for a threat. A threat is something known. It's an IOC. Hash, website, blah, 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 whatever. It's reactive.
Mm-hmm.
It's already known. I think we
Okay.
need to do risk hunting or anomaly hunting.
Yeah. I mean, what's risk? I mean, risk is likelihood and impact. But right. Likelihood of what? Likelihood of a threat compromising exploiting a vulnerability, and which then would lead to an impact, right? So threat is part of the equation. So you do need to, you know, incorporate threat. And people, when you say vulnerability, they automatically think, well, software vulnerability. Vulnerability is a fancy name for weakness. Mm-hmm. It's just a weakness. It could be a weakness in the front door, a weakness in a wall, a weakness in a person, a weakness in, you know, technology, whatever. Now, weakness or a vulnerability without a threat is zero risk.
Yep.
And same, like infinite threats, but I have no weakness, that's also no risk, right? So I think threat hunting combined with vulnerability management, I think if that's what they're actually doing, right? Because a lot of people don't understand the words that we're using in this industry. They say threat hunting, because threat hunting in the traditional sense is to go look through your network, look through your systems, look through everything to see if you've already been compromised, to see if there's a threat there.
You're looking
Well,
for anomalies.
that is reactive. You know?
Yeah, I suppose.
Now, if you're spending time, doing threat analysis, understanding threat feeds, understanding, the situation, again, back to situational awareness, what threats do we face? That's very proactive. So in my definition of threat hunting, it's, I think, much broader than looking in my environment to see if there's shit here. So I think I'm agreeing with you on that front, but also, I mean, there's a great education opportunity here. I mean, what is risk? Risk is the likelihood of something bad happening and the impact if it did. Well, what's the bad happening? The bad happening is a threat exploits a vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
What's the likelihood of a threat exploiting a vulnerability? And then what would the impact be? What would the impact be? Well, in that equation, I do need to do threat hunting, but not in the traditional reactive sense.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I concur.
So
I concur, Dr. Nami.
Dr. Tsunami.
Dr. Tsunami.
So what do we think about continuous pen testing? Is this a thing? Is it a growing thing? Is it BS? What are your thoughts?
I like it. I like it. I think you should find a trusted, skilled company to do pen testing, with no holds barred. We can hit you anytime we want to. You're not going to give us scope. We can hit any one of your systems whenever we want to, because that's what the real world is. That's what attackers don't call you first and say, all right, here's our test window. It's after 10 p.m., from 10 to midnight. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? So I think the closer you get to real world, the closer you get to real threat emulation.
So I want to challenge you on this. So we're going back to the ROI. In our current traditional sense, ROI is you get a report, I have findings, I remediate the findings, I deliver them to the executives. I don't have time to talk to the executives multiple times a year, so you schedule these things so it can be on a cadence. In a continuous assessment, how do you deliver that ROI?
So continuous assessment or continuous pen testing?
Continuous pen testing, sorry.
All right. No, it's cool, man. So I think on continuous pen testing, it's executives may not need to even know it.
Okay.
I mean, continuous pen testing, they would need to approve the budget. So you'd have to make the case on why this is important for our environment. And then you may report summaries annual, unless it's something like, and a lot of that would be driven by your incident response plan. So if your incident response plan, has, you feed testing into that. So like, let's say, in the continual penetration testing, we find something super critical. Holy shit. Maybe we even need to notify our regulators, around it. That would then feed into your incident response plan, right? I mean, building the security program is not like a jigsaw puzzle. Everything's kind of connected, right? Mm-hmm. So there might be places where your continuous penetration testing might feed into an executive notification, but for the most part, it probably doesn't. Where I would leverage it for an ROI is I want to have skilled people attacking all the time, not just for the preventative piece, not just to prevent an attacker from getting in, but are we detecting any of this shit? Did anybody even see these guys? And also on the incident response, because if I've got the bases covered on that, I would know when they exploited something.
I'll be alerted, right?
Well, hopefully. And if I didn't, well, there's a great ROI right there, right? I mean, now I can close a gap that I didn't have, I didn't know about before. So a lot of times you'll marry up, the penetration the continuous penetration testing with your blue team, and it's
And they're
so
not
there's a
communicating.
definite ROI there in terms of communicating with the executive management.
I
It's
mean,
going to differ.
so they're not communicating with the blue team at all.
When you set up this kind of arrangement, you'll set up the criteria on when those communications should take place. Sometimes you do
Like a monthly briefing.
monthly briefings. Sometimes you do quarterly briefings. Sometimes it's also event driven. Like if you get domain admin, pause.
That's an
Let's
event, right.
let's call a meeting. Let's call a meeting. You know what I mean? So you'll put all that in the contract language of what criteria will require a pause and a regroup.
So why do you think it's taking us so long to get here then, if this is the future?
Dude, we've been doing this for a long time. I don't know why people haven't been doing this forever. I mean, I've been making this case, I think, well, because most people were doing penetration testing for the longest time. They were doing it because of a compliance driver. Yep, check the box. And so there's no requirement for me to do continuous penetration testing. So why the fuck would I do it? So I think what you're seeing is a shift generally when this is a positive, right? So let's do a positive
we're
here.
influencing the business more, maybe?
Yeah, I think, so let's go through a positive. One of the positives about our industry is there are more and more companies who are doing security stuff because they want to do it right. By a large margin, compliance is still the primary driver, but I think it's diminished somewhat over the last 10 years. So I think that's also a driver for why continuous penetration testing is, kind of becoming a little bit hotter. It was always the right way to do it. I could never figure out, like, why would you be testing my second floor window and neglecting my front door? When we narrowly define scope on penetration testing and then give you test windows.
If you were a good security leader, you wouldn't totally kill the scope. You could still do it, and I understand that there shouldn't be any scope, but you could still do it and limit scope and still get value.
Sure. Well, it's a maturity thing too, right? I mean, information security is always, the things I would do in a mature information security program, I would never do in an immature one, right? You have to take these steps to get here. But when you get to a spot when you're talking about continuous penetration testing and all the value you can get out of it, at that point, you should be able to demonstrate the ROI to get that budget to do it, right? Because you've matured it that much and you know how to use it, right? It's just like tools, like any other tool. This is a great tool that I can use to close the gaps that I don't know about on prevention, detection, and response. Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of continuous penetration testing with the right. That's another thing too, man. I mean, who do you trust? Yeah. Who do you trust? There's lots of people out there. Yeah. There's lots of people out there that'd be like, you've even got people that are doing AI penetration testing, like automated penetration testing. No, that doesn't work.
I'll have to drop you 2 names after we're done and get your thoughts.
On what?
2 companies currently that are doing it.
You can say them here, man. This is all about transparency here.
Transparency. So there's 2 local ones that are doing it that I've talked to. Synercom, and now the newest one is Sprocket. They're 2 local companies.
I don't know those guys. All right.
Continuous. Yeah. They have like
continuous is great, but are they automating the entire sequence, or is there a human element to it?
I don't know how automated it is, but back to like the regular check-in stuff, they publish like a web app where you can see your stuff in like a dashboard report type format, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Far Secure does continuous penetration testing. I mean, it's crazy because I think we talk more companies out of doing penetration testing than we do penetration tests, and we're booked out to like June.
I enrolled in that when that was the test pilot thing. We called the
Which one?
project FR. The it was like for,
Hyphy?
yeah, Project Hyphy. Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty much just OSINT shit. I mean, it wasn't a pen test,
I enrolled in
but yeah,
that and I couldn't. I was battling with. I need you to talk to me regularly, and I didn't. And then they responded like, "Yeah, no, this is it. Sorry." I was like, I'm not sure I feel comfortable with this." Back to the maturity
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah, a little bit for sure. But yeah, I also like continuous penetration testing because I feel like I've got hackers actually working for me. You know what
Versus
I mean?
against you. That's an
Yeah,
interesting thought.
yeah,
Never thought about
because
that.
they have that same mentality, the same skill set. We give our attackers, so much more credit than they deserve. They're not as highly skilled as we say they are.
So
They're skilled for sure, but not like, oh my God, this is like out of this world shit. It's the same code. It's the same TCP/IP stack that everybody uses. It's the same shit. Just use it different.
so then does it? What's the difference then? Do I want a red team or do I want continuous pen testing? Red team is hacking, right?
Define what the difference would be.
I mean, for me, the red team.
I mean, you don't have to define it here, but I think for yourself,
Hmm,
define what the difference is.
I think what's logically jumping out at me is continuous pen testing is from an external vendor, red teaming is from inside. So ideally, you probably want both, I guess.
I would start with the external vendor because,
That's
I
what
mean,
the attacker sees.
a good vendor. There's a lot of bullshit out there, but start with a good vendor because a good vendor would help you build your internal red team as well when the time is right for you to do that. Um, a good vendor would be fully transparent on all their TTPs, right? Everything that they did, because the whole point is to help you. The whole point, it's not to keep you as a customer. So I would start with a good, if you can find one, which there are many out there, but I would start with a third party because you also learn a lot. Just emulate their same TTPs somewhat, emulate their same methods of communication, just all that shit into your own red team. Red teams are expensive.
There's a free red team stuff out there, Atomic Red Team. You can go there. They have scripts and stuff. Run that on your own network.
It's
That
good for
works.
learning.
I've
Absolutely
used
good for
that.
learning. I would not qualify that as a red team, but good learning for
Yeah,
sure.
they call it Atomic Red Team, but yeah, it's you're running TTPs in your own environment that don't do
Mhm.
live payloads, so you can test alerting and stuff.
Yeah, man. And the way, continuous penetration testing works is just give a budget. I can afford this much, and then whatever details you want to put in the contract, but it can be as simple as, I mean, depending on how well you trust the provider, this is my budget, and just let them go, and what you'll find is and another cool thing about, I think, that the continuous penetration testing is most hackers like me get pretty obsessive. So
They'll
you'll give me
go and go.
you'll give me a boundary of like, from the company I'm working for might give me a boundary. All right, Evan, you have 4 hours or 6 hours a week, a month to work on Matt's company. Well, if I find something interesting, I'll be like, I'm going to go deep. You know what I mean? And you'll find that a good hacker who's just curious and shit will end up spending 20 hours because they found something super interesting. You get that kind of stuff with penetration testing as a service, where you won't get that on a scoped penetration test because it'll be very much project driven.
They got hit the timeline for the report and
You
booking
have
the
a
next
project manager
project.
associated with it. Yeah, you're not going to get the same value.
Interesting. So I had
For
one more,
sure.
but you wanted to play a game.
No, give me one more, dude.
Okay. The last one, regulatory pressure will intensify. Governments worldwide are tightening cybersecurity regulations, from GDPR enforcement to critical infrastructure mandates. Businesses will face more scrutiny, non-compliance risks, hefty fines, and reputation damage. From Veronis.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be more regulatory scrutiny. Definitely. You saw that toward, in the middle of 2024 and kind of the end of it, certainly in the healthcare industry. Yeah, there's going to be more regulation.
Does regulation and scrutiny mean accountability? And does it lead to change?
Accountability always comes with reward or pain. Reward for doing the right shit, pain for doing the wrong shit. It's that simple.
Do we do hefty fines right now? I thought we already were doing fines.
No, we don't do hefty fines.
What
are you going
to find?
Fine? Exactly. We haven't seen the outcome yet of like CrowdStrike. We haven't seen the outcome yet of like Change Healthcare from, last year. But okay, what's going to happen with Change Healthcare? Well, they're going to lose, there's going to be some fine, something. Who knows what the end result is going to be, but let's say it's like, let's go on the high side. Let's say it's going to be $500 million. It's not going to be that much guaranteed because it's not. But so say it's $500 million. They won't give two shits. It's not even a hiccup. That's not accountability. Accountability is take something away that fucking hurts. The biggest thing my father used to do, because I've always had a high pain tolerance. So, accountability for me was never spanking.
Showing her butt to the world.
Nice cat ass. Like spanking never worked for me. But you know what worked for me? My dad took away my favorite TV show at the time was The Incredible Hulk. So he took away the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, he took away the Incredible Hulk. That was when Lou Ferrigno. This is back in the 70s. So he took away Incredible Hulk. Well, that's how you hold somebody accountable. You got to take something away from them or reward them with something that actually fucking matters. If you don't, then what happens is the way we typically do it is, okay, well, we have these big bad things that happen. Let's increase regulation and make everybody pay for the bullshit.
Slow it down. Yeah.
Yeah. What if I've already been responsible? What if I've already done, and what's responsible? Well, I have an asset inventory. I've done a comprehensive information security risk assessment. I've made risk-based decisions on information security. Where I can't prevent, I can detect and I can respond to. I built a good security program. I've been responsible. Why penalize me? And you do penalize me when you make regulations that now I have to consider that don't make any risk sense for me. So thank you, Change Healthcare.
I read somewhere recently, I can't remember who it was, but some recent breach, they reached a settlement or something, and the amount of fine they get is like 90 cents a record or something for the breach. And I think even if you go back to, what was that, Ascension, that you could call in, even get your compensation or whatever after they had the fake website. I think it was like $3 for your data. It's like, what you're selling this shit for billions and I'm worth $3.
Well, and in the settlement, who made the money?
The lawyers do.
Damn straight.
Yeah, they take the chunk of it.
And truly, if you wanted like truly effective, laws and regulations, you'd have to make this an election issue.
That's never going to happen.
Well, it'll
Elections,
happen eventually. It'll happen when it hurts enough
elections
for
are all
for
about,
like the consumers.
elections are all about the same 5 arguments every 4 years that never change.
Yeah.
So
this is the game. This is the game we're going to play.
Okay.
In future, this episode, I'll just give
Red
you
light,
an example.
green light, like in Squid Games?
No, but we'll start with this game, and we'll do it every episode. So you're going to come with 5 trivia questions.
Sure it has to be 5?
5, 10, 100. I don't give a shit.
Some
number of trivia questions.
Okay.
Related to information security. Now, they can't be like outrageous, like, things that nobody would know. They should be things that, more people should know. And I'm going to come with the same. And so we're going to do this every episode, and we'll do it earlier on in the episode where it's like, and we'll just, because I'd like to interact with the people, the listeners too. I want to, if they can answer it before you, so if you're asking me the question, if they can answer it before me, I don't know. We'll have to figure out something. Give them
they can come
points
visit you for free.
Well, shit, I got to figure out a budget for that. Yeah, something like that. Or, and then, so you've got a competition.
Stay at your house for free. How about that? They don't have...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll have a competition between us and any of the listeners or viewers, and then a competition between me and you.
All right.
And then the winner of the competition between me and you gets a hamburger when you come down here again from the other person.
Okay.
All right. So I'll give you a couple of examples of like questions that are legit, but not like super crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right. So I'll give you one question. Which company experienced a massive data breach in 2017 that exposed the personal data of over 147 million people?
Was that the one I just said?
It's close.
No, it's not. Accenture's the consulting company. The whatever you call it. Good question.
And then we'll put a time limit too. Like we'll do a countdown timer. It is
Equifax.
Yeah. And we'll put a timer on these questions. So then, I guess if you can search it quick enough, great. If you can't, then whatever.
I said Accenture before. I meant Equifax.
I know you did.
We need to go back and edit that. You gotta correct me.
I ain't gonna edit that shit. I ain't gonna edit it. Oh, see, right now we've got the angry intern who was listening. Said it was Yahoo. Yahoo was like 3.4 billion records or some shit. I mean, it was like
TC3 video channel. All right.
TC3 video channel. All right. So we're getting some. This is the whole point of this thing.
Right.
So we're gonna do this. We'll do this like somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
In future episodes. Okay, here's another one. What hacker group is known for wearing Guy Fawkes masks?
Oh, that's anonymous.
See, there you go. You don't have to go like super crazy with this shit.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me figure out another one. What famous phrase was used in the movie Hackers to describe security exploits?
Oh, I'm thinking of the main. Oh, dude, was that
We use it all the time still today.
the Trojan? No. Social
Like
engineering?
like the condom?
It was, I know they talked about the worm, right? They had the worm. It was the Da Vinci worm.
This is a phrase.
Yeah. Hack the Planet was.
Yes,
Was that it?
that's it.
Okay.
Hack the planet.
I thought that was their like motto. I didn't know it related to that.
It was a phrase.
I might have to rewatch that movie then.
Hack the Gibson.
Hack
Oh,
the Gibson. Oh yes.
I like that.
And then he rubs his nipple.
Well, here's one. So I googled some shit.
Lord
but let's,
Nikon.
what's I can't remember.
Crash
I was gonna try to come up with a trivia one off the top of my head, but I can't remember the details. All right.
I
Anyway.
have one for you.
Yeah.
What major retailer suffered a massive credit card breach in 2013?
Target. Who worked on the special litigation committee on that said breach?
Evan, you did.
Evan Franken.
Evan Franken. Is that what they called you, right?
I have no idea what they called me. I mean, they called me my real name to my face, but I don't know what they said behind closed doors. Let's see. I'll give you one more. This one might be hard. No, I can give you that one. Well, here's a super simple one. If you don't get this one, I don't think we can be friends anymore, Matt.
Okay. That's pressure, dude.
What port does HTTPS use?
443.
Typically.
443.
All right, we can keep being friends. Thank God. I don't want to lose you as a friend, but I was like, oh, shit.
Why did the hacker bring a ladder to the office?
Oh, this is a joke. This isn't trivia.
It's general security fun. To get over the
I don't
firewall.
think that's the same as to get over the. No. It's not. I would not bring a ladder to the office to get over a firewall.
That's what the hacker did. So
How would you get through a firewall? The way we used to get through firewalls. So the first firewalls. Here's
get
a
access
trivia.
to the management interface.
No, well, I mean maybe you could, but here's some trivia stuff. Like the first ways to get through firewalls before they didn't. The first versions of firewalls just blocked packets. Didn't maintain state, so you had no state. So you could spoof you could get through all the firewalls by changing the flags in the TCP header. You know, you have shit. I can't remember how many flags anymore, but you know, the three-way handshake, right? SYN, SYNAC, and ACK-back. So I could send you a packet. I could send a packet to something on the other side of the firewall with a SYNAC, for instance, right? Set those two flags, and then get an ACK. And then the firewall let that go because a SYNAC is a response to a SYN packet on the way out.
So it
right?
assumes there's already something happening.
Yeah. So and then we started building stateful packet inspection. Now, then it would maintain state. That actually complicated things a whole fuckload. So then it was convincing or figuring out ways into the network where you could plant back doors to call back.
To go out through egress, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when we started, using a lot of tools just to get people to execute something, whether it be through email or a download or a website drive-by.
That's still a thing, by the way.
I know it's still, very much a thing. So that we can call back and get back in, that way. Firewalls, but never to use the ladder to get over a firewall. Maybe I didn't do it right.
What's a hacker's least favorite kind of candy? Smarties, because they can't crack them. Oh my god!
You got to come with better. You got to come with better trivia shit next week, man.
I just tossed this into AI real quick and said, "Give me some fun ones." I mean, the first ones were all like technical, like port 443 TLS. Like, what is that stuff? It feels like we're doing a SysP prep then at that point.
What's the most common password found in data breaches?
Password 1?
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've now lost.
I did lose.
I'm expecting a hamburger.
Where are we going? There's a lot of places I haven't been yet.
Really?
Remember,
Dude,
we
I
don't
found some
go out
cool.
that much.
That's because you're just not
I'm
as fun as you
diving.
used to be.
I'm diving a lot.
We went to the north
Oh,
side of.
check this out. My
Check what out?
boss got me. Here, let me go get it. I'll be right back.
All right. So what am I supposed to do while you're gone?
You talk. That's fine.
About
I'm
what?
still here.
Where? Like, here's a good one that you could use. What does the acronym CIA stand for in cybersecurity?
Confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
There you go. Right. So it doesn't have to be some kind of like crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
What is that?
So my boss got this for me for Christmas. It's a world map, but
Oh.
it's full of dive sites.
Oh.
So it's dive sites all around the world, and then the legend tells you like what type of dive is it? Is it like a shipwreck? Is it a reef? Like what kind of animals are there?
Well, here's another thing we can do, because we got to close this podcast up. But
Okay.
here's another thing you can do. The Angry Intern is also a certified diver. I don't know who else was listening tonight that is a certified diver. If you pick a place to go dive, let's go do it. If you got a place on that map where you're like, I want to do this one, then let's go do it.
Peoples and go.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it,
and
man.
We can do the podcast from there.
We could do the podcast there. So, okay. So predictions. Sounds like a lot of chaos. A lot of shit.
I have closing thoughts. Should I read it?
Sure.
Cybersecurity is evolving at lightning speed. 2025 will challenge businesses to stay ahead with proactive, innovative technologies and strong collaboration. Collaboration is a challenge. You guys need to be better at that. Stay tuned for more insights. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Boom. Yeah. I don't do that shit enough too. Yeah. Come interact with us. If you find any of this entertaining on the YouTube channel, and subscribe. I don't do this. I mean, I started this thing just because it gets shit off my chest.
We're not trying to make money.
No, fuck. No, I suck with money. But, the cool thing is, InfoSec to Insanity is, security people like me were nearly insane. I think sometimes it really feels like we are.
Normal people think we are.
Yeah. So the ability, that was the original motivator for getting this thing started. And then, I was having a new guest every week. And then Matt came on and I was like, I kind of dig talking to Matt. And so, Matt's become my co-host. And I had a name for my damn self. So Matt is Tsunami. He's a man named Sue. I don't know what my name is. I had one, and I should have written it down, but I forgot it.
You'll remember it at like 4 a.m. tomorrow.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll probably remember it one of the 3-4 times I pissed in the middle of the night tonight. All right, man. Well, that's it. All right, those are our. And what was the title? So crystal balling. So that was our crystal balling. And Matt, I let you lead with your own crystal balling. You could say all kinds of shit, and we're probably going to be right, in terms of how fucked up things are. And it's not just our industry; it's like the world, right? I mean, pick something.
My biggest thing is, I think at the end of the day, we as defenders, as practitioners, we need to get better, and I don't think technology is going to solve the problem.
You cannot fix people with technology. Get that through your thick skull. Not yours, but somebody else's. I agree, man. All right. Good show.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. I ended the stream.